Hello everyone and welcome to this week's weekly wear video from me. This week, as I told you last week, I'm testing out the new ColourPop foundation. This is the Pretty Fresh Hydrating Foundation. I was very confused. I thought this already existed. I was confusing this with the tinted moisturizer, so I hadn't even realized that they had come out with a new product. But hey, here we are. This is $16 and you get 1 fluid ounce of product in it. If I counted correctly, there are 42 different shades to choose from, and it does look like a pretty good shade range, you know, if these actually are the true to color photos. I don't know that sentence made sense, but you get what I'm saying, right? As always, I do appreciate it when companies use a range of models in terms of their outward presenting gender, as well as weight differences and all of that. So good job, ColourPop. They say that we're gonna get natural, healthy looking skin with this skin perfecting medium buildable coverage foundation. As always, I'm pretty sure ColourPop products are cruelty free and vegan. It's gonna give a skin-like finish to it with coverage and hydration, as well as hyaluronic acid to moisturize and make your skin look nice and plump and healthy. And the 3 ingredients that they highlight here are all hydrating ingredients, one of which being coconut water, which some people are gonna hate that because coconut can irritate people's skin. But that just is what it is. Application, it just says specifically to use their primer, but they also did say that you can use it on top of any primer, sunscreen, or moisturizer, and then, you know, they try and sell their sponge and whatnot as well as powder and setting mist and all that la la la. Apply it like a foundation, basically. That's what I got from this. So I got the shade number Fair 30N. We'll see. Hopefully I have a better time with this than I did with last week's foundation. I think this is usually the shade that I use in ColourPop, but you know, pretty standard bottle here. It's got a pump, which is great so long as the pump works. Yeah, I'm just excited to try it out. I've clearly got some stuff on my face that we can be testing this out on. This nostril is just a zit, which love it. We love to see it. Oh my goodness, that was quick. Doesn't really smell like anything. Very slight foundation smell. I think if I'm remembering correctly, they had specified their kabuki, their flat top kabuki brush to blend. So I will use a flat top kabuki brush to try and blend on this side of my face. Wow. I mean, it's definitely giving coverage. This might be a bit fair on me, but not too bad. Let's see how much it really, ooh. Maintenance just stopped by, so great timing. Let's see if I can still blend this out. If nothing else, I'll just have to start over again. But, okay, no, we're still blending. Hey, that's exciting. We've got good time to blend it out. It looks like it might be, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's oxidizing, but I don't think it looks as light anymore. So, deepens with the dry down, but like, dang, ColourPop! That is some nice coverage. I'm excited. Hopefully this wears well, because if it does, I mean, it looks really nice on the skin. At least I think so. Let's see how it does with a sponge. Definitely gave a sheerer coverage, but I think it looks good on both sides, honestly. They did also say that this is buildable, so as per usual, I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to build this up, especially on my more blemished areas at the moment. Dang, I mean, I think that looks awesome. Covered up any and all blemishes. It seems like it doesn't look like a full coverage foundation, but like I said, it covered up my blemishes so nicely that I'm almost inclined to say that it is one, even if it isn't. Took away redness, evened things out. It looks really, really natural and nice. Certainly a more dewy looking foundation, but like a dewy satin. It's not like hyper dewy or anything. So like I said, I think that looks absolutely gorgeous on the skin. I am really excited in the hopes that this is gonna wear really well too. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead, put on the rest of my makeup, get on with my day, and hopefully things go well. But in any case, I will see y'all and report back and let you know how this foundation did in just a second here. Ready? Ding! Hello everyone, good evening, end of the night here. I have mixed feelings and I would like to share them with you for clarity. So, as you can see, my foundation is still on. I ran a couple errands earlier today with mask on and everything, and just overall, you know, I've been living my life in this gorgeous humidity that we call summer air in Minnesota and many other parts of the world, and it has felt lightweight. It really, I would say if I've got a bit of dew on my skin, it feels like I'm wearing foundation, but in the times where I'm mellow and there's no sweat or oil or anything happening, it feels very lightweight. I think it looks good on a lot of my face, but like around my mouth and chin, it looks a little bit cakey, and on my nose, it looks like it maybe separated a little strange. I'm not sure. I certainly did notice anytime, like if my nose itched and I just went and like dabbed at it with my finger, I noticed there's a lot of transfer, so that's irritating. I don't like foundations that transfer, but overall it feels like the kind of foundation that maybe with a primer it might stick around. And also I'm reserving judgment because it feels like it might do well for me like in the winter when I don't have to worry about humidity and sweat as much. So I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed. We shall see, and we shall see together if this foundation ends up working for me and my oily skin. But that is for past Cassie to even I don't know. We'll all find out in the future. How about that? In any case, it'll be in just a second here. Ready? Ding! Hello everyone. Good evening. End of the night here. Galileo, why must you try and eat plastic? We all have our urges, I guess. My urge is to always want to try and find the best in things. I think I like this foundation, you guys. I do. But it has its problems if you have oily skin like me. Let me tell you about these past couple days. On day 2, I figured I was not going to try this with a hydrating primer since it was hydrating enough on its own, so I just went straight into using my Guerlain primer to mattify my skin, as well as used my Too Faced concealer to cover up blemishes, and then, you know, I can use a little less foundation, see how that helps. I applied it the same way as I did on day 1 with the flat kabuki brush, and then blended it out with a sponge, and once again, like on day 1, it layered beautifully, it blended beautifully, applied beautifully, all of that. I just think it looked great initially. This has such a pretty finish on the skin, I think. It also wore comfortably for most of the day. You know, it was another day where I was out and about with a mask on and whatnot for maybe an hour and a half or so, and I thought that it hung in there very well. It felt comfortable, but it just had that feeling where I knew that if I touched my face even the slightest bit, it was just gonna wipe straight off. Granted, my mask didn't take it off at all, but I just, you know, the difference. And this theory of mine was further proven by the few times where I did either accidentally or purposefully have to try and like subtly itch my face without actually itching it. This transferred badly onto my fingers once again, like you saw at the end of day 1. However, I have to give it credit because I was going to take my foundation and makeup off earlier in the night, but I figured, I've got a video to edit. I can keep this on for another like 3-ish hours. Why not? It's not looking perfect here because of that transfer, but I'm just going to keep on wearing it for kicks and giggles. And I actually, once I was done editing that video, I walked to go to the bathroom before going to bed, and I had totally forgotten that I even had foundation on. Somehow, some way, this turned like ultra lightweight all of a sudden, because I walked past the mirror and I was expecting to see like, you know, blemishes and whatever else, my non-makeup face. And I was like, whew, double take time. It looked good. Now granted, upon further inspection, close up and everything, I didn't look perfect. but I didn't think I looked terribly oily, and it just overall wore much more gracefully on that day when I had my Guerlain primer on. Granted, it still wiped right off, but I thought that was pretty impressive that I literally completely forgot that I had makeup on with this foundation. So for day 3 here, I was a little conflicted. I was like, well, do I even have any other mattifying primers? Should I try this as a mix-in? What should I do? And then I remembered I do have another primer from CoverGirl that's mattifying that I like a decent amount, so I figured I would just give that a try. So I went ahead and used that CoverGirl primer, as well as, once again, my Too Faced concealer, and then this foundation. Did the same application technique, and once again, as I've said before, I think it applies, layers, blends, all that good stuff absolutely beautifully. Looks gorgeous on the skin after you first apply it. It really does have a beautiful mix between a satin and a dewy finish, where it's not too dewy, but it's not matte, so it just looks very natural and pretty. But throughout the day here, it has just been so humid, and I just have been hot and oily and all that, and because of that, it has felt not necessarily heavy, but it feels like at any given moment it could just slide or wipe right off. And that's definitely the case. Like, it looks like it has completely just come off of my nose, even though I've just been casually swiping at my nose, because Fig has been very cuddly today, so I feel like I've had cat hair on my face all day, but I've been very, very softly just, you know, brushing the cat hair off, not like swiping and wiping it off. But either way, my nose does not have any makeup on it, I feel like, anymore. It just ended up settling into my pores and staying there, but I don't think it looks horrible at the end of the night here. I really do think that it might just have to do with my oily skin. It just might not be the greatest for oily skin, but I think more than anything, it just has to do with the time of the year. I've got a feeling this is gonna be fantastic for me in the winter when it is not humid. However, if you're not oily skinned and the humidity doesn't bother you like it bothers me, and it makes you all sweaty and hot and bothered, you might have good luck with this foundation right now if you are also in a place in the world where it is summertime. So let's go over the pros and cons really quick here. I'm getting ahead of myself. For the pros, certainly, first off, at least based on the models that ColourPop has on their website, if you just scroll through, you know, instead of showing the foundation bottle, they show the models' faces, which I think is great and makes it really easy to pick out what color you might be. You can just see shade range looks, based on those models, fantastic, like really good. Obviously, there are places of improvement in any foundation line because you just can't make every foundation color in the world, but it looks good. Impressive enough where I feel confident listing it as a pro. I also, as I have said multiple times in this video, think that this has beautiful, gorgeous, buildable coverage as well as blendable coverage, or just blendable being. It just applies very, very nicely. You know, the fact that it is buildable just means you can wear it multiple different ways, sheerer, heavier, that sort of a thing, which I personally think is a huge pro. And it also, regardless of how much you wear, I think it has a beautiful, very, very pretty looking finish to it. I mean, I kind of get it why they call this the pretty filter foundation. It just looks very pretty on the skin, it really does. And for the most part, it is a lightweight foundation, although if you do have oily skin like me, and or if it's just a really humid climate where you are, it might feel a bit heavy on the skin during those times. But aside from that, I would say this is lightweight. Now, in terms of the cons, there's not a ton, but the first just has to be, for me, it might just be with my oily skin, but this transfers, and it transfers badly. Like, wipes right off kind of a transfers badly. But that being said, sometimes, like on day 2, so like depending on primer and stuff, I didn't feel like it was super noticeable that it had transferred. Today, certainly. So I just think that might have to do with the primer. But even more so than the fact that like it wipes right off, it's the fact that it feels like it's gonna wipe right off when I'm oily and when it's humid. Sorry, I feel like I'm repeating that a lot, but I really do think that those two factors have to do with the reasons that these are happening. So I don't know, I just don't like that feeling where I'm nervous to touch my face, I'm nervous for anything to touch my face, you know, giving someone a hug or whatever, and I just would rather not have that uncomfortable feeling, nervousness. And then also, once again, this is dependent either on my oils or on a primer. I'm not super duper sure, but sometimes it does not fade gracefully like today. But the other 2 days, I thought that it faded quite nicely and wore nicely throughout the day. So I just felt like I had to throw that on there for the cons, just in case that ends up being a bit more prevalent in the future for me when I continue to try this out. But either way, like I said, I think this is a good foundation. I really do, especially for the price. You know, the fact that it's cruelty-free and vegan, great. The shade range, like I just think this has way more pros than it does cons, and I'm also still just hopeful that in the future, in the winter months, it'll work really well for me, or if anything, even right now going on into fall, I'm really hoping that it's gonna work well mixed with a matte foundation. I just think it has promise. So there you go, my friends. I hope this review was helpful for you. I know quite a few of you had requested that I test this foundation out, so thank you for that. Certainly let me know in the comments down below if there are any other foundations you want to see me test in a weekly wear video. And also just let me know if you have tried out this foundation for yourself, how it worked for you, what kind of skin do you have, all that good stuff. I love cooking up that casserole of comments with you guys down in the comments below. You can also just let me know if you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, whatever the case may be, by giving it a thumbs up down below. I would really appreciate it. And if you're new here, hey, hi, hello, how are you? You can go ahead and subscribe. You can tippity tap that notification bell down below. Become a member of my casserole family here on my channel. I'd love to have you here. And as always, I just hope you guys are all doing well. And until next time, just stay well until then. Bye!